Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Well, hello.
Well, today we're going to talk about navigating multiple offers. And at least in our market, in the southeastern northern Illinois market, it's still kind of in that place. I know we talked about before that it's not like that everywhere anymore. But yeah, we're going to talk about
No,
that.
which is so crazy to me. Like, I just
Yeah.
couldn't even imagine. I can't
I
even wrap my head
don't
around
know
it.
what a buyer's market looks like. I have not experienced that yet, as I'm still newer. So it'd be really interesting to see that shift, you
And
know.
sellers, if you're listening,
Hello, it's not going to be
everyone's
fine.
always waiting for
Yeah.
the peak. When you're trying to sell, everyone's waiting for the peak, just like buyers waited for the price. They're waiting for the price. They're waiting for the rates. And then you
Yeah.
miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember the buyer's market prior to this, and I was like, this is it. This is
Yeah.
it, folks. If you want to buy, this is the time. And then they're like, oh no, the prices are going to come down. The rates will come down more. I'm like, they're in the twos. What are you talking
Man,
about?
looking at those 2017, 2018,
And they
19
missed it.
prices,
Yeah.
it's insane. Like the one
So if
that
you're
Yeah.
thinking about selling,
like
or if you're on the market and you're not moving, it's price. It's
mhm,
always been price, price,
yeah,
price, price, price. Get to a good price and you will sell. And if you
Yeah.
don't, you're just going to get less money down the road. It's not like wait till next season. It's
pricing
we're
you're
not,
not listening to
what's
other
happening everywhere else and in the shift in the market is coming. Like
hmm
the
Yeah.
tidal wave always comes. It eventually comes and hits us in the Midwest, and it will. I don't think we'll get hit as bad as like Florida.
Yeah.
But it will come.
I
And
think it's
Hmm.
bad there right now because of insurance and like flood insurance and things like that that are becoming.
yeah, making
Yeah,
it
that's what
crazy.
I've been reading about Florida is that stuff is sitting and it's been sitting
Yeah.
Well,
a long
So
time.
heavy investment market too. Heavy Airbnb buyers that are now
Mhm.
yes, yes,
trying to get out.
exactly. So
Yeah.
we're talking about multiple offers. And yeah, like Lindsay said, we're still seeing it. I mean, I
Mhm.
couldn't tell you the last offer I wrote that I wasn't in a multiple. We
Yep.
talked about this a little last month. I mean, we'll keep talking about it, I guess, until
Until
our
it goes
market
away.
shifts. But this is why it's so important to meet with somebody like Laura, get your
Mhm.
ducks, I mean, even in the same yard, just, I don't need you to be perfect and have them in a row, but like, just let's get things together, talk to her, have a game plan, understand what your budget is. Laura said this, you've said this so many times, budget, budget, budget. What you are approved for is different than your budget. So understand what that means. If you're writing on a $250,000 house and you're talking about going 20, 25, 30, 37, I like odd numbers, 32 over,
Mhm.
understand what those shifts in purchase price due to your payment so that when your agent says, I think you should go here, it's not like a pit in your stomach because, I'm sure people call you all the time about that because
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't change it that much. I don't know why you won't go up 2,000 more.
Yes.
You won't even notice the difference.
And
And
Yeah.
I
in the
think it'll
end, honestly, I think buyers just have to go through losing enough homes
to
and then they
understand.
finally
Yes.
realize it and they end up spending what they didn't want on the first home they loved.
Right.
It's
And
yeah.
that's why you're hiring somebody, or you're working with somebody, right? You're not doing it by yourself or having just your attorney draft up uh,
Right.
for you because you want someone with your best interest. That's why we're here. That's what we're doing.
Mhm.
You know, we're making
Yes.
sure you're covered. You know, with that deal that we're doing right now with the for sale by owner.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's so many instances where I feel like they would have really gotten screwed without me navigating it on their side.
100%. Yeah.
Right.
Calling out stuff that was a little sketchy. So
Oh, I agree. And so, like with meeting with Laura, that's like step one, and make sure you have that pre-approval because we can't write an offer without it. Like, I don't know. I didn't realize that there's people out there that don't understand that, but like, Lindsay and I can't write an offer for you if you don't have that letter. One, we have to fill out the financing. And see, two, no seller's going to accept an offer without seeing something. And, the more work you've done on that end, the stronger that letter is going to look. The stronger Laura can be when she calls, because that's huge. That's why try to stay away from the big box lenders, because that
Mhm.
lender from
Don't say
certain
it.
companies,
Thank you.
I almost did, they're not going to call You know,
No,
I have
no.
one right now and it's going great. I will say I'm pleasantly surprised, but the negative is they call me to give me updates, which is great, but I don't answer because it's like a 1-800 weird spam
Yeah.
number.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when they
And are
email
they
me, I
answering
gotta
on a
get a
Sunday?
password and I gotta
No, on a
log
Sunday
in
when you're
and I
in multiples knee deep and you need something, like, are they answering you? I don't know.
right.
And as a buyer, most people don't know you can go through underwriting and get everything signed off on before you even find a house. So
Yeah.
that
Yes.
makes it a lot less stressful for you. It makes you put you at the top because again, we're talking about multiple offers. How do you get your offer to the top of the list for this seller to choose you?
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's perfect because then you're basically saying these buyers 100% are going to get a loan subject to the house.
Yes.
And then, you know, Lindsay's newer and she's been great about meeting with buyers. I try my hardest, but I can't get anybody to meet with me. They just want to meet me at the house. But doing that consultation and really understanding what all these things mean. Like what is earnest money? What is that
That's
for?
right.
How does it work?
Right.
What's the inspection contingency? What's radon testing? All these little things we have to put
Right.
in the offer. What's the difference between city sewer and water and well and septic? How does that work? Do we test that?
Oh,
Who
yes.
pays? You know, and all these things that go into structuring an offer.
Mhm.
Just are important to know prior to, because sometimes, unfortunately, we're seeing a house at 5 and we have to have an offer to them by 7.
Oh,
So
on a
the
Friday.
the more you're prepared and you know how
What to
much
look
earnest
for.
money you can do, you know what an escalation clause means, you know what,
What you're
appraisal gap
willing to
means.
what you're willing to budge on and what you're not, and then maybe that's where repeat buyers, somebody that's already owned a house before, has a little bit of an advantage over you because they're
Right.
not afraid of these things, right? They're not afraid of taking, I don't want to say more of a risk, but if you sat down and actually understood it with Lindsay or Danielle, you would not be as afraid of it either, right?
Yeah.
So,
And
Yeah,
it's much
I
better
think
like,
than
the
meeting at the house, especially.
terminology
Yeah.
yes,
You know, meeting
scares
at the
people.
house can be, almost daunting because then you got to try to answer a lot of questions while you're walking through a house. So you're taking all that information in, and then you're all taking all this other information
yeah,
in. That's a lot. Unless like it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you haven't met with any agents yet, and you get paired up with one of us, and we just got to go for it. And then
yes,
you're open to the process that, hey, well, these offers do have to be in. So then you're in that situation. So starting sooner will get you way, like we did to talk about offer ready video,
yeah,
better. So
yeah.
start soon, become proactive, meet with one of us, or call Laura, and then pick someone to meet with.
Right.
Because most of the time I'm meeting with people who have no idea about even calling a lender. So they're like, oh, okay, give me the people that you like. Okay.
That's so
So I
interesting.
feel like that's mostly a lot of people aren't, or they talked with like their bank, and that's the route that
Yes, most people talk to their
that's why
bank
it's
or their
best to use somebody,
or who they
or
have a loan
shop
with.
around, talk to different lenders and people.
Yes. So I think understanding kind of the terminology and like what's going to be expected of you, because some people are like, oh, like 500 in earnest money good? No, it's not. It's actually not at all. If you're putting $10,000 down, do 10,000 in earnest money. It's the same thing. You get
Right.
credit. It's sitting there. Now it's safer because you're not going to spend it on anything.
Right.
And it's protected. We make sure it's protected. We make sure we have checklist after checklist and we're not going to miss a date and lose that
Right.
earnest money for you. Appraisal is that's kind of like a big thing. So if you can get a waiver, so not everybody qualifies for it, but you have to be a good buyer and be putting good money down, and then the house has to qualify. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the lights are flickering. I talked to a lender about getting one on a different house, and because my clients were putting so much money down, but they wouldn't because the house hadn't traded in ever. So there was not like stats on the house that were like
Yes.
current online.
So, when we run the loan for approval online, it's all an automated system. And ultimately, that's when we're going to find out when we enter the address. It's going to tell us yes or no that you'll get an appraisal waiver. We are fortunate enough that we have a tool that we can type in their down payment amount. And if it's the likelihood that you're going to get an appraisal waiver, which is really handy.
Yes.
So,
That is huge because I will say that like I would rather have a buyer
yeah,
have no financing contingency. So even if you're getting financing,
yeah.
you do not have to include a financing contingency on your offer. So you
Mhm.
can say, yes, I'm getting financing, but it's not going to be contingent upon that. So what does that mean for you? If you don't get financing, that earnest money, bye-bye. You lost
Yeah.
it. But if you have met with your lender and you are, and obviously make that closing timeline tight just in case of job loss or, something changes. But if
Yeah.
you have talked to your lender and you are prepared and you are through underwriting, and especially if you get that appraisal waiver, I mean, sometimes it doesn't matter because I can, look at the comps and be like, this is a slam dunk.
Right.
You're going to appraise, or you might be short a small amount and you're fine covering the, 5 to 10,000. You can keep that completely off your offer. You don't need to put that in there, even if you are getting financing. I would much rather have somebody roll the dice on that than not do a home inspection.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
It's just,
Yes.
Crazy.
Smart.
there's a lot out there. And sometimes you're going to have to gamble with that. And that's a buyer's choice. And I tell all of my buyers that I will never recommend that. Here's the risks, here's the reward. And, but some people have, contractors in their family and there's like, it's fine. And they can come, look at it. So
Yeah.
You
again,
have
that's,
such that you see all those things that the seller has. You could walk into a home and say, this house definitely, I would have an inspection. There's ones that you'd say, hey, like this seller takes really good care of their home and they have all these updates,
Yeah.
maybe this is
right.
something we could get our
When they
home
have a
inspection
log,
afterward.
I was just gonna say that.
when they have a log of every time they've serviced their furnace and it is yearly, and every time they change their filter on their furnace,
It's
those are the
huge.
people you
Yeah.
can probably buy that house
Yeah.
and be good. But then really look at the house, really take some time, look in the attic,
Corner,
really,
yeah.
look at different things, check the grading. And, I don't know, I've had it happen a million times in the 20 years. Parents are like the kiss of death when you're a first time buyer and they come to, the one house. Bring those, it's so important in this fast market. Those people have to be with you all the time.
Yeah.
So if dad can only see houses on Saturday, we don't see houses during the week. Let's wait till dad can see a house, because then, if it's okay that you need his approval to feel confident writing an offer, but
Mhm.
and I would rather have you feel confident than be like, oh, what's my dad going to think? And then he comes in and he kills the deal.
Yeah.
So bring those people with you. And that might also help if your dad is the contractor type, that he's like, oh yeah, this is totally fine. Like I would buy a house with my dad seeing it without an inspection. I would.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So if you have somebody in your family that makes you feel that way, bring them, because I will never tell you not to do an inspection, but if you feel
Right.
confident, do it. So that's huge. And I think I haven't seen anybody not writing financing. And I had a client get an appraisal waiver and I told the lender, why didn't you tell me before? Because I wouldn't have even checked that box.
Yeah.
Then we look like we're a cash offer. I mean, we're not. We still are going to send the pre-approval, but that gives the seller just that little extra, like, oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard. We can't guarantee it though, but
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
the frustrating.
everything's a risk.
Yeah.
So it's, what do you want to do? And then people always say, what should we offer? And I will say the same thing. It's like playing darts with a blindfold. I have no idea. I can tell you if there's multiple offers and you're thinking of offering 5 over, don't even go see the house. This happened the other day because she said, well, I wouldn't pay full price. And I said, well, then we're not even going to go see it because she has 10 offers. There's no way it's not going at 5, at least more than 5 over. So have that in mind. And, I think
And also no one's going, unless it's been on the market a long time. You're not
Yeah.
even offering full
no
price.
one's dropping.
Good
No
luck.
one's dropping price. No one's dropping their prices right now. Yeah, unless it's been on a while. And then I like everyone never end your offer with a 5 or a 0. That's what I tell them. Everybody's going to go 250, 255, 260, 265, 270, 270. So 270, if you're going to go to 275, let's go 277, 500.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes it is that extra $500 that wins it, which is even crazier.
it's so crazy. Sometimes, yeah, you're neck and neck and there's nothing. The financing is similar. You're both doing an inspection. Neither of you are testing for radon. No one's asking for anything extra. You can be both flexible with closing because that's huge, closing timeline. And it just comes down to that little bit of difference in price. And I will say too, I know we're kind of getting long, but I just had a house go back on the market. It's expiring today and I'm not trying to chase this listing down. So, but we had 2 conventional loans denied. So, and I have it in the MLS and I've taken probably 20 phone calls from different agents over the last 24 hours. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? How is a conventional loan not going through? And it was peeling paint, wood rot, and I was like shocked. And the first thing I did when I got the first appraisal was I sent it to a lender that's in our office, and I just said, "Can you look at this?" I called the appraiser and I said, "I think you did an FHA appraisal. This is supposed to be conventional." And he was like, "No, no, I didn't. That's how it is now." So I don't know. Laura,
Yeah.
you should definitely talk about this because no one's talking about it. Nobody,
Yeah.
everyone was like, what? And I screenshotted the second lender, which was Fairway. So very reputable. Like I would recommend them to anyone. And I screenshotted what the final underwriter had said that needed to be done that was on the appraisal.
Yeah.
And I've been sending that. And they're like, peeling paint, wood rot, a broken window. They want a roof cert? And I'm like, yes. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know when this happened.
Add that to our list.
I was blindsided by this and no agents know about it.
Yeah.
Add it to our list because it'll make this one longer.
Yes. So I think that's something we need to touch on because I think that's a good for like agents and just buyers. And it's good news to me. I think of, the silver lining of everything. It's good news for those USDA, VA, FHA because it levels the playing field for everybody. And
that's true.
Hopefully that, I want the word to get out too because I'm saving that comment from the underwriter because I will send that with every single FHA and VA offer. And I'm just going to make something up like, did you know that the conventional buyer might run into the same issues my FHA buyer will run into?
Might. Yeah.
Might. Not will, but they could. Yeah. So it's not a slam dunk because I thought this was slam dunk conventional. Like it's priced under, it appraised for well over the contract price, but with repairs.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's worth more. That's why they're buying it because of the repairs. So I couldn't wrap my head. It's frustrating. So we have to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay.
I don't want to get into a long explanation on it because.
Yes, but I do want to hear.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear. So we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Claps are everywhere. Okay.
Good talking points though. For sure.
Well, yes.
It was a good video. I think it's a good one. So leave some comments. We want to get these videos out. So even if you're not interested in buying or selling a house, share too. It just helps us.
And we want to hear your questions. Like, what do you want to know about?
Right.
So.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Going into the weekend, good luck on your offer tonight. You got it?
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.